Hello. My name is Daniel, and this is the Engineering Success Podcast, episode 44. How you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. It's Sunday, June 18th. It's my wedding anniversary, so 1 year of marriage to my lovely wife, Madeline. Thank you so much for supporting me and letting me spend some time on our wedding anniversary recording a podcast episode. Now, if you're listening to this, you might be wondering why in the world is Daniel doing this? And it's because we actually celebrated our wedding anniversary yesterday because we thought that we were going into active labor with our child. So we kind of did all the things for our wedding anniversary yesterday. We got to go see the new Disney Pixar movie Elemental. If you haven't seen it yet, highly recommend it. But yeah, we celebrated that yesterday, and if baby E comes today, which it might be the case, it looks like we'll have our wedding anniversary, Father's Day, and our child's birthday all on the same day. So, very interesting development. Also, an interesting development is supporting this podcast. Thank you to our top tier supporter, John Ott, for your regular support of the podcast. You too can get a shout out at the beginning of every single episode of the podcast. But for $10 a month, you can support me on Patreon or on Spotify for podcasters. The links are in the description of what you're watching down below. $10 a month gets you a shout out at the beginning of every single episode of the podcast. And if you're interested in other kind of business relationships, feel free to contact me at my email address, daniel at engringsuccess.com. Daniel at engringsuccess.com. It's also where you can write into me if you have a question that you want me to answer on the podcast. And this week's podcast is going to be your classic Q&A podcast. So we'll have our LinkedIn lunatics, and then we'll have our college questions, career questions, all of the above. It's going to be a good episode. I could get pulled at any minute now. I'm getting told that we need to go, but it's we've reached kind of a little bit of a lull in the process. We thought that we're getting there yesterday, and it just kind of was a little bit of a tease, but I can assure you that this is the last episode that I will be filming at the podcast, that I'm not a dad. So very exciting developments in my life, and thank you to those of you that have been following along and supporting us in this process. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into the podcast with LinkedIn Lunatics. All right, here we go. Networking. Okay, don't ask me what job I do. At networking events, the most common question I get asked is, what do you do? But this is a bad question to start with. It's transactional and boring. Instead, I prefer to ask, what car would you drive? Yes, it can be a bit jarring for the person you're asking, but you can learn everything you need to know about someone in the first 30 seconds of meeting by what car they drive. Some examples: Porsche 911, hardworking and successful; Honda Odyssey, humble family man; Toyota Prius, red flag. Follow me for more networking advice. Hashtag networking, hashtag event, hashtag success, hashtag Porsche. Porsche. I hope that this is a troll post. First of all, generalizing somebody off of their car is exactly what car bros want you to do, and it's pretty backwards if you ask me. Driving a Toyota Prius, I wouldn't look at that to be a red flag at all. In fact, if you think that somebody driving a Toyota Prius is a red flag, I'd say that's a pretty big red flag for you. Also, Honda Odyssey equals humble family man. I mean, again, could be a woman. Somebody's vehicle doesn't really say that much about them. It might say what they can afford to drive or what level, but even then, it's probably just what level of priority that they place in their vehicle, and that really shouldn't say anything about who they are as a professional. So it is not a bad idea to maybe ask people about their interests at a networking event. That's a great way to break the ice, but to go above and beyond that and make generalizations about somebody being hardworking and successful or humble or a red flag based on the type of vehicle they drive, that's a little bit of a stretch. So I think literally your mileage may vary if you follow this approach. Let's see what the comments have to say. Bro, you're a student. Get some life experience before preaching. He's a history student. He really can't afford to pick his future employers based on whether they drive a Porsche 911. Ordinarily, that would be true, but he'll probably be all right because of Oxford. The charlatans at Effective Altruism that got SPF started were philosophy students from Oxford. Great system we live in. Hey man, I am also a history student. Yeah, I'm gonna go and say that's not a very good strategy. Wouldn't recommend it. Wouldn't recommend it at all. Speaking of things we don't recommend, let's go into the next LinkedIn Lunatics post. Thirst traps. This is posted by Kyle. He says, since everyone likes the thirst traps on LinkedIn, we don't. Our top salesperson and my best friend Lexi gets the light today. And yes, she does all the roof inspections and adjuster appointments here at Flash. And it's some lovely pictures of Lexi selfies, her in yoga pants. I really hope that Kyle got Lexi's permission to post something like this because I mean I personally wouldn't want. I, I mean it's not. She doesn't look bad. I mean she's just not. She's wearing yoga pants and a tank top. It's not really what I'm putting out on my LinkedIn, and I think it just goes to show that people don't really take LinkedIn seriously anymore. It's not really a networking profile anymore. I came across one this morning that didn't make it into the deck, but it was a guy that was a church janitor hitting on somebody in the DMs of LinkedIn. I mean, it is not fully a networking site anymore. I've still been able to keep it one, but I've seen plenty of examples of it not being one. Here's a comment. Top comment. This is getting out of hand and frankly disgusting. An app site that was used for jobs and business chat is now a new thirst trap site. WTF. Not to mention how inappropriate it is for the company owner to be talking about an employee like this in general. You run a roofing company, bro, not a Hooters. Yeah. I mean, he's kind of objectifying this woman for sure, and maybe with or without her consent. I'm not sure, but definitely not a good thing to post on LinkedIn, in my opinion. Less than ideal. And maybe she finds it flattering and good for her. And in that case, maybe not as big of a deal. But come on, man. I mean, this is it's kind of embarrassing. All right. Well, that was LinkedIn Lunatic. So, as many of you guys may be aware, Reddit is doing this blackout thing, and I usually I share the posts that I am speaking about on the screen, and I'm just not able to do that this week because despite being extremely active in multiple subreddits, turns out apparently I'm not a member of them, and I don't know exactly how this works, but alas. All right, so let's get into the questions. Let's start with college questions. So, first up, sorry, I'm distracted by the fact that the Rangers are getting absolutely destroyed right now on the TV beside me, and I unfortunately sent my parents and my brother to that game as a gift for Father's Day to my dad. So sorry, Dad, not the best game. All right, college. The question is titled Straight A's Student Struggling in Engineering. So I was a very good student in a European high school with almost straight A's everywhere. Grades would probably convert to a 3.9, 4.0 in the US. I barely ever studied, and that was enough for me to be at the top of my class. I got accepted at a top 20 university located in Europe, which is known to be super demanding, but decided to accept the offer thinking I could do it looking at my grades in high school. Since I got there, each course feels harder than the other. Can't keep up with new lectures every week, super long exercise sheets, and coming exams. I barely even passed my first semester, and I might not pass my second. The system here is you either pass or fail a whole semester, and I only have a second chance for each class. Super stressful. I actually feel the dumbest in the class, at least in my friend group. Am I the only one in this situation? Any advice? No, you are not the only one in this situation, and this situation that you have described is the exact reason why many people drop out of engineering programs, and it's because they're not prepared. You said that you barely ever studied, and that was enough for you to be at the top of your class. So you probably have terrible study habits, and you're paying for it. What you're going to need to do is, if you feel like the dumbest one in your class, you need to buckle down and put a lot more effort in. It sounds like you're capable academically. Sounds like you're academically inclined and you just don't have good study habits. So it sounds like if you're the feel like you're the dumbest in your class, at least in your friend group, you're doing the right thing by surrounding yourself with people that are probably have better study habits than you, and maybe you need to ask them, hey, what do you do to prep for the exam? Or maybe you can even study with them. But no, you're not the only one in the situation. I felt major imposter syndrome after I first got to college. That's for sure. And it just, I had a kick in the pants with one of my classes. One of my first classes in engineering. It was my Calc 3 class. It was quite the kick in the pants. And after that, I kind of got my study habits together and I got it together. And then I was able to get through engineering school with a GPA that I was proud of. So, yeah, you can probably do it. You just probably are going to have to put in a lot more effort than you're used to putting in. And you're going to have to be a little bit more focused and dedicated than you're used to being and intentional about how you study. So, looks like you have some work to do, but yeah, you can do it. All right, next question. This one's also in our college section. This one is titled, My Mom Wants to Follow Me to College. They say, My single mom told me she's going to move with me wherever I go to college. I guess it wouldn't be so bad if it was a bit further away in the same city, but like she wants to make sure I don't become a college party girl, which means she wants me to live with her. This is so frustrating because one of the major reasons I wanted to move to college was to gain freedom and independence. I have an older sister who just finished her first year in college, but my mom says she won't move with her because she trusts that she won't fall into the party scene. When I told her I didn't think it was a good plan, she called me ungrateful and selfish. How can I ask her not to move with me? I want to add that I'm planning on going to in-state schools so I can visit some weekends and breaks. My mom will be living alone though, which I think makes her uncomfortable. Yeah, that's unfortunate for your mother. Um, and unfortunate for you that she's put you in this situation, but there's boundaries, right? And part of college in general is going out and going out on your own and branching out and becoming your own person. This isn't applying to college subreddit. Also, some schools may have requirements that you have to live on campus in the dorms, and your mother won't be able to do that at all. So that might be a pretty good easy out for you. It's a difficult situation, and I can understand how your mother would feel lonely or scared by this, but that doesn't mean that she has the rights to kind of shut you down. What I would do is express how thankful you are. I don't know what your financial situation is. I don't know if she's paying for your college, but taking your financial situation into consideration, maybe thank her for being such a good mom and wanting to be there and support you. But explain how that makes you feel and what your perspective is and what you want to get out of college, which is growth and independence. And you're not going to be able to do that if she moves in and lives with you. And then kind of just let her know what you're planning on doing. And it's a matter of fact. It's what you're doing, and she might react pretty strongly to that. But I mean, it's your choice. And again, I don't know if you're relying on your mother for finances for going to college. I don't know what it is, what your financial situation is, but yeah, I think this is a violation of your boundaries for her to do that. What I also say is you need to kind of go off on your own to go to college. You really do. You don't have to, but you sounds like you want to, and you should do that if that's what you want to do. So yeah, that's an unfortunate situation, and just let her know that you're not abandoning her. You'll plan on visiting her, but I think that maybe she's just holding on because you're the difference between her being an empty nester and not. But it's not. I mean, let her know that her perspective of you is, generalizing you to become a college party girl and say all that kind of stuff is maybe not helpful. But yeah, especially Also, there's gonna be nights where you have to stay up late and study, and really, again, college is your journey, your experience, and within the financial confines that you have, you should definitely have the most independent experience that you can. So, yeah, you're not ungrateful, you're not selfish. Just be like, hey, mom, I'm gonna go to this school, and this is what I'm gonna do, and maybe you could target schools where you have residency requirements. But I'm also interested what your mom does. It sounds like she has, I guess, the level of independence to I guess relocate for work. I don't know what's going on there, but it sounds like she might be a little bit codependent on you as well, which is why she's wanting to up and at him and follow you to college. But yeah, that's a difficult one. I My single mom told me she's gonna move with me wherever I go to college. That's just I it sounds like she's explained why she thinks that's the case, because she thinks you're gonna become some party girl. But maybe you can unwrap that a little bit further with her. But yeah, no, the whole point of you going to college, freedom, independence, yeah, that those are very important growth things. It wasn't until I was on my own that I was really forced to learn a lot of things. So I'm very glad that I went off on my own for college. That's for sure. Okay. Next question. Let's move into the career section of the podcast. Is this salary good as a fresh college grad? Got offered a position as a process engineer in Florida. The offer is 75K plus benefits. Is this a good salary or should I be negotiating or looking elsewhere? That's pretty good. Now, what I would say is if you're not currently in Florida, maybe also it would be good to ask about a relocation package. If you're relocating, they should be paying for you to relocate. So either a stipend of some sort or maybe flying you out and helping you move your belongings. If you're already in Florida, if you're already in the same city, then no harm, no foul. But yeah, that's a pretty good starting salary. The other thing I'd say is plus benefits. Maybe if you haven't already asked yet, find out what the benefits are, what your PTO is like. You should be looking for, I don't know, a week of sick, couple, 2 or 3 weeks of vacation, and some personal in there, maybe even. But yeah, that's a pretty good salary, and as long as the benefits are comparable, maybe a 401k match, 3 to 5% is pretty average. Then yeah, that's a pretty good salary as a fresh college grad. So I would definitely take that. Congratulations on your offer, and you got that in May. So looks like you had a job lined up right after, right coming out of school. So congratulations to you. All right. As an engineer, what can I contribute to fix whatever harm we are doing to our planet? I have no idea why I even took engineering, and honestly, I have no idea how this is going to help my life. Maybe I can do something with my knowledge to contribute to the world. But what is it that I should do? Should I just be a corporate dog working for money, or should I try to change something around me? Something I was thinking about in the shower. Well, first of all, I love a good shower thought. Some of my best thoughts come in the shower, so it's where we kind of have where you're able to step away from everything and just kind of desensitize yourself from all distractions and just kind of focus on being in the moment. That's awesome. But I'll say this. I think that it's a very good aspiration to want to change the world, and there are people that can do that. There's people that can change the world in a grand scale as this one person. But really, honestly, everybody can do that, and it just takes the intentionality around it, right? But but none of those people can do it by themselves. So I think that the a healthy mindset to have around this, and something I have around this, is that I can do only do so much. So I'm going to do things that I feel like are part of contributing to a better world. Because again, even these people that you think are the front people that are changing the world for the better, there's tons of other people involved that are behind the scenes that are doing the things that maybe they're leading the initiative of. So that's why I just kind of focus on what's in front of me and I do things that I think are contributing to making the world a better place. For example, I'm an engineer. I'm working on a project that's a natural gas export facility in the United States. And when this facility is completed, the gas can go to Europe and contribute to European energy independence from Russia. And it's natural gas, which is cleaner energy than coal and other alternatives. So I feel really proud to work in this industry and to be doing something to help us harm the planet less. And so that, I mean, I work in construction, an industry that maybe some people would say is dirty or, oil and gas. I work in gas, but I'd say that I'm working as part of the energy transition. And maybe if you feel like you want to be even further down the line and helping the us do less to the world, then maybe you can work in renewables or work in solar or wind or nuclear or ammonia technologies or hydrogen technologies. There's some pretty cool stuff there. Or working in plastics and how to recycle and repurpose and reuse plastics. Or there's plenty of things you can do as an engineer. And what I'd say is find the things that fascinate you personally and that you think you could find a good career in doing, and then maybe pursue a career in that. And then on top of that, if you pursue a good career in something that you like and an industry that is helping us at least somehow move in the right direction, you also make money. And if you do really well, then you'll make lots of money, and you can also put your money where your mouth is and where your keyboard is, and donate towards causes that you believe in. So I think there's plenty of ways that you can contribute to helping the planet, either with the work you do, like I do, working in the energy transition, or maybe working in renewables or waste reduction. There's plenty of things you can do as an engineer to help us minimize the impact that we have on our planet. So, really good aspiration, and plenty of things you can do. And I wouldn't overwhelm yourself by thinking that you have to try to fix things on your own, because there's lots of things that are already moving in place that you can kind of join and be a part of as an engineer, either as a person working there or as a person that is contributing and donating to what those initiatives are pursuing. So that's what I'd say whenever you ask what you can do to fix whatever harm we are doing to our planet. Next one. It's that time of the year again. It's that time of the year where all the interns and summer students post, I hate my internship. I don't have anything to do at my co op. My supervisor never gives me tasks. So I wanted to give some pointers on how to get by during an internship while still feeling productive, since I was also a student that went through this with multiple companies. I will talk with regards to project engineering and consulting work. First one, I don't have any work. Full-time employees aren't willing to teach complicated things to interns when they can do it on their own in a fraction of the time it take you. This is just more efficient. The time that they spend teaching and explaining things to you may cut into their own busy work as well, so they'd have to make up for it later on. Instead, you can read through design manuals, look up online training courses for software your organization uses, like if you work in project engineering, maybe spend time learning Civil 3D or AutoCAD. Next one. My manager's supervisor doesn't assign things to me. Well, yeah. Oftentimes, these managers and supervisors are also full time engineers. They have to make complicated designs, write up long and tedious reports, attend multiple meetings, and then at the end of the day, sign off on certain projects. Interns are the least of their worries. Instead, you can walk around your office organization and make small talk with other coworkers or trainees, ask what projects or tasks they're working on, and ask if they need some assistance or have any grunt work they can lay on you. Even if they don't, it's nice to kill some time and learn what people in your organization actually do. Yeah, this is good advice. I totally agree. One person might not have something to do for you to do, but definitely a good idea to go around and talk to other people, because there might always be somebody that has something that you can do to help them out that actually can make their life easier. Is this actually what engineering is like? Yes and no. Yes, there's often a point in the working year that deliverables or proposals have been sent out, and you have to wait for a sign off or for higher ups to review your work before they publish a final draft. And that time you'll most likely be light on work. That's just reality. No, as in no, there will always be more work coming down the pipe, and some days you won't know how to organize your inbox from the influx of emails received. Yep, it's just ebbs and flows. I mean, every company would love for it to be consistent and to be um, to be have a constant stream of work. It'd be much easier to work that way, but that's just not the way that it works. I talked to our business development folks in the company. It's kind of like it comes and goes in waves. What you do is you have the big waves, and then you build in the little waves to fill in the gaps between the big waves. Regardless, there's always going to be times when there's downtime. And if there's not downtime and they're overwhelmed, then well, they might also have extra difficulties finding time to give you work to do as well. I don't apply anything here that I learned in my classes. Well, yes, school helps you learn the theory and application of engineering principles, but not necessarily the most efficient or streamlined approach to solve problems. Oh, and forget calculus, you're never using that. Yeah. This is why it's key to learn things like Excel, structural analysis software like SAP, GIS, CAD, etc. There's a reason these programs come with your work computer. Oftentimes, your company has software standards that designers and engineers have to comply with when sending out drawings or work orders or contract packages so that contractors or the government can understand what the heck it is you're designing. That's why having an engineering sense and knowing design software is key. Yeah, I mean, you'll apply the theory and general concepts that you learned in your classes, but yeah, you won't be solving free body diagrams in the same way. Well, maybe you will, but for the most part, you won't be solving free body diagrams or finding the torque like you would be in your typical classes. So, and they go on to say, if all else fails, just kill time scrolling through Reddit and like you are now. It's only one summer, guys, and I'm assuming that you're all getting paid. Yeah, and I think that that's just the reality with internships. You have to go in with realistic expectations, and for a lot of people, it's their first time ever working in an engineering capacity, so they have maybe some expectations that they got from a movie or from what their dreams are, or fantasies, or something like that. So it is kind of a nice little gut reality check. Every company is different, every work experience is different, every internship experience is different, but for the most of it, just going in with an open mind and a willingness to learn and ask questions and kind of make sure that you make the most out of your experience will help you have the best internship possible. So, generally, I agree with this person's advice. There's a lot of good advice here. And if you don't have any work, that's probably going to be the case for the most part. So just kind of keep on asking and asking and asking for work and listening and listening and listening, and maybe you can work your way into shadowing different meetings and work your way into an action item here and there. But yeah, it is that time of the year again. Interns, you should be about halfway through with your internships now, so I hope that they're going well, and I wish you the best of luck. And if you're feeling disconnected, then keep on pushing through. Speaking of which, here's one of those posts. This one's titled Bored at Internship. So been only about 3 weeks since I started my first internship. I'm a program management intern for a very good company in the automotive industry. They work with very common and some up and coming manufacturers. I was thrown in the middle of one program they're working on, and at the very beginning of another they started a couple months ago. Most of the time, I've just been sitting around twiddling my thumbs. A lot of time, I walk around, introduce myself to folks that I haven't met before, reintroduced to people I briefly met. I always ask if there's anything I can do to help with almost anything at all. Usually it's a I'll let you know or not at the moment. My mentor has given me tasks to complete during my time here, but for one of the tasks, another guy has done most of the heavy lifting for me. And the other task, I need to do an EBOM with someone else who doesn't even know how to use the program either. It's a Thursday, and total, there's 5 other interns here and maybe about 15 employees out of hundreds. Although I might be getting paid good to sit around, I'm not that type of person. I want to be active and support this business. But as of right now, I don't know what to do. It's hard to learn the process of being a program manager when my mentor isn't around and no one else from the department is around. Anyone else have advice of what I could do? Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Edit. Maybe we should all come together and make our own company so we can never slouch around again. We'll be our own interns. Okay. That's just not how it works. And edit to everyone else that's in my position. Let's hope it gets better. Everyone who kindly suggests things for me to do. Thank you oh so much. Yeah, you're doing the right things. You're going around asking for help. Here's one for you. Do you attend meetings? I'm sure there's plenty of meetings. What I do is ask your boss to shadow them on their meetings or program management. I'm sure there's a lot of meetings and organization. Sure, there's also a lot of action items as well. So maybe you could volunteer to take meeting minutes or meeting notes for the meetings that you're in. And that kind of gets you in the middle of the conversation, and you can start the meeting off by maybe there's a series of meetings that you can step in for, take minutes for, and then you can kind of also get involved in the conversation by joining in at the end of the meetings to recap the action items and minutes that you took for the meeting. That's something I would consider doing. Also, yeah, you're doing a good job introducing yourself to people, asking if you can help, and they say I'll let you know or not at the moment. And then there's softwares that you can't use. Well, yeah, it's going to be difficult for you to do that, but maybe just shadowing your manager, walking up to them and just maybe instead of just asking them how you can help, asking them what they're working on right now first, and then maybe expressing interest in what they're working on and saying, "Hey, I'd love to help you out with this. Is there something I can do here?" Or, "Hey, what software are you using?" "Oh, I've used that software before. Can I help out? Is there something I can do?" So, yeah, that's my advice. But maybe we should all come together and make our own company so we can never slouch around again. I assure you, when you start working full time, you will envy the lack of busyness that you had as an intern. I'm sure that your life will get much busier after that. So, anyways, it's just keep on making the best of it. Stay positive. Don't fall asleep at your desk, and just be a generally nice person to be around, and you'll likely get a return offer. So, wish you the best of luck with the rest of your internship. Next one, and it's the last one. Should I continue with interviews even though I received a non-verbal confirmation? Hi, all. Last week I had an interview with company A, and the next day the recruiter sent me a LinkedIn message saying I will be offered with the job. At the same time, the recruiter also mentioned that he is in the midst of getting an approval and will be getting in touch with me again for further discussion. Though I have yet to receive any official emails or documents of the said offer, I am still actively attending interviews from other companies. And so my question is, should I continue to do so? Currently, I'm feeling somewhat conflicted slash guilty about it. It's probably because so far company A recruiter mentioned the job offer, while for other companies, I'm actually in the final round of interviews. In addition, in any event, say I do reject company A, will this make things very awkward? To be honest, I don't have much experience in the realm of interviews as this is my second job. Yeah, continue to do so because even if you do get an offer from company A, it also might suck. The PTO might be bad, the pay might be bad, you might not like the offer. So even if you know that you've gotten a verbal, yes, please continue. Please continue interviewing. And then also, even whenever you get the offer itself in writing, I've heard of experiences with people that I know where they've gotten an offer in writing, and even that ended up getting reneged on. They signed an offer letter and everything, and then they had their offer pulled from them, and it just resulted in an awkward experience for them. So, yes, until you have it in writing with a start date and a salary and everything, I would not stop interviewing elsewhere because you might get an offer, but you might not even like the offer. So, say you do reject them, will it make things very awkward? No, because they still haven't given you an offer in writing yet. So, yeah, don't worry about it yet. Keep on going. You said you don't have much experience in the realm of interviews as this is your second job. That's okay. But yeah, keep on interviewing until you get one in writing that you like. I wish you the best of luck. All right, guys. Well, that was a shorter episode of the Engineering Success Podcast. Let me know what you think. Do you like the shorter episodes? Do you like me? Do you like the questions that I pick? Do you have a question that you want me to talk about in the podcast? Let me know by writing in to Daniel at engringsuccess.com. Also, if you like the podcast, share it. Share it, share it. The best way you can help support the podcast is by sharing it to others and engaging with it. If you're watching on YouTube, comment down below something that you liked, something you agreed with, something you didn't agree with. Make sure to subscribe. And then also follow me on all my socials. I'm on every single social media platform: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, where I'm not a lunatic, at ENGRING Success. And if you leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, I will make sure to read it out on the podcast. And also, if you support the podcast on Patreon, I will send you a sticker and a thank you note in the mail and also read out your name at the beginning of every single episode of the podcast. So, thank you for your listening. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next episode of the podcast. Thanks.
Chasing payments, still playing in the basement while I'm working on arrangements. They heard the kid in 50 countries, thank God that's amazing. But I'd rather thank Spotify, they put me on the station.